For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. The gospel often indicates that Jesus was happy to accept an invitation to share a meal with other people. Such occasions were time of encounter, opportunities to make friends, and to consolidate relationships. In this passage from Luke's Gospel, Jesus observes the behavior of the guest. There is a race to occupy the best place that are reserved for dignitaries. The anxious desire to affirm social status is palpable. He is thinking about another banquet that will be offered to all the children in the Father's house. It will be offered to people who do not have this acquired rights because of their alleged superiority. Indeed, the best places will be reserved for those who put themselves last in service of others. That is why he proclaims, "For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." By making ourselves the center of attention with our greed, our pride, our demands, and our complaints, we fall into the temptation of idolatry, that is, of worshipping false gods who do not deserve honor and trust. Therefore, the first thing Jesus seems to be asking us is to come down from this pedestal of our ego and to make God Himself and not ourselves the focus of attention in life. God has the place of honor. It is important to make room for Him, to deepen our relationship with Him, and to learn from Him the evangelical attitude of putting ourselves in the last place. In fact, to do so is to choose the place that God Himself has chosen, in Jesus. Although He is the Lord, He has chosen to share the human condition and to proclaim the Father's love to everyone. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. This is also a lesson where we learn how to build fraternity. We learn to contribute to forming a community of men and women, adults and children, healthy and sick, who are capable of building bridges and serving the common good. Like Jesus, we can approach each neighbor without fear. We can walk side by side during both difficult and joyful times. We can value his or her qualities, share material and spiritual goods, encourage, give hope, and forgive. We will attain the primacy of charity and freedom of the children of God. In a world that is so sick because of desire for personal success has led to a breakdown of society. Behaving in this way means really going against the tide. It is an entirely evangelical revolution. This is the law of the Christian community. As the Apostle Paul wrote, "In humility, value others above yourself. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted." As Chiara Lubick wrote, "Have you noticed, in the world, everything is in a completely different order. The law of ego prevails, and we know the painful consequences, injustice and transgression of every kind. However, Jesus does not focus directly on these forms of abuse, but is thinking rather of the root from which they arise, which is the human heart. Our hearts must be transformed if we are to acquire new attitudes and establish genuine and just relationships. To be humble does not only mean not being ambitious, it also means being aware of one's own nothingness. how little we are before God and thus placing ourselves in His hands like children. How can we be humble? By doing as Jesus did and acting out of love for our brothers and sisters. God considers that whatever we do to others is done to Him. Therefore, it's a matter of putting ourselves in a lower place and serving them. And we will certainly be exalted in a world to come, in the next life. This reversal of situations is already present in the church. In fact, whoever commands must be a servant to others. The situation, therefore, has already changed. In this way, the church, in which these words we have considered are lived out, is already a sign of the world to come. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted.